Please welcome REO Speedwagon with these wonderful REO songs for you, my REO friends around the world. Keep in touch with the best and first REO YouTube channels from 2006 by DJ Julio from Venezuela. REO Speedwagon's biggest fan outside of USA, please follow me on my social networks. Thank you for all your support all these years watching Ovagon Veloz, 20 years old on YouTube. And always thinking that remember is to live again. Live every moment and love every day. Peace and love and rock and roll and REO forever. Thank you to all my friends in this wonderful world of music. Keep rocking Julio from Venezuela. Please watch the following REO video.
The second time I went into the dressing room was easier because I already had the experience from the first time. When the concert ended, I waited for people to leave. I saw the same scene again. The Poliedro de Caracas completely empty. This time I was with a friend I'd invited to the concert. I remember telling him before we got there that I was going to bring my camera, but he said, "Don't worry, I'll bring mine," which takes 36 photos. So I trusted him and didn't bring my camera, something I regret because he never gave me the 36 photos from the REO Speedwagon concert that were mine. But let's get back to the Poliedro de Caracas. Next, I waited for the National Guard to leave, and when they moved away from the door that led to an alley to the dressing room, I simply walked in, as we say here in Venezuela, like I owned the place. When we got to the dressing room, I remember seeing Neil in the doorway in the same position he's in on the Good Trouble album, looking at his watch. He seemed ready to. Upon arriving at the hotel where they were staying, I met him and, thanks to having taken a communicative English course in recent years, I was able to tell him that he had been fantastic at the piano and that he was a great musician. Next, I asked Neil about Kevin, to which he replied that he was inside. So we went in, and while we waited for Kevin, who was showering, we saw other members of REO Speedwagon talking to REO fans. I remember seeing Bruce, and he seemed like a big man. Well, that's how I remember him. Then Kevin came out. You could tell he just showered because Kevin was so fresh after singing for almost 2 hours. Then I remember my friend showing him a denim jacket he had made with the name REO Speedwagon in leather. The band members liked it so much that a photographer from a magazine or newspaper, I don't remember exactly where, took a picture of us with REO Speedwagon, my friend and I holding the jacket upside down so the name would show. For me, this is very important. Somewhere there's a published photo of REO Speedwagon, my friend and me. So, immediately after the photo, I went up to Kevin, and the first thing I did was give him a big, warm hug because I love Kevin like family. My rocker brother was there and I started talking to him. My friend was very surprised that I spoke English, and to be honest, I was also surprised that I was talking to Kevin and he understood me because he answered me. I think the fact that I had drunk 7 beers before the show started helped me loosen up a bit and made my English more fluent. Then I was able to tell Kevin that I had been listening to his music for 12 years, when in reality it was 9, but I remember that the number 12 was the first thing that came to mind in English. I told him that REO music was the best music I had ever heard and that he was the best singer-songwriter in the world, to which he responded by thanking me and nodding his head. I told him that I had all his albums and that I was a big collector of REO music. I asked him when they planned to return to Venezuela and he said maybe very soon because Kevin liked Venezuela a lot. Then I took out a photo that I had taken of them at the beginning of May 1992 when they gave 2 concerts at the same place. In the photo, Kevin and Maximo, a Venezuelan musician, were playing 3 REO Speedwagon songs together. Then I said, "Do you remember Maximo?" And he answered yes. Where was he? Maximo, and I told him I didn't know. Maybe it wasn't the best answer because he was most likely playing at the same restaurant where they met him, and who knows, if my answer had been different, maybe they would have invited me to take them there because, I repeat, they are very special people. The fact that they asked about Maximo confirms it. So I continued talking with Kevin. I remember he had a mustache and a goatee. I took out a photo of REO Speedwagon that I had folded in my wallet, tore it in half, and asked Kevin to sign an autograph on the back of the photo because I didn't have any paper or anything available for him to sign. He asked me in Spanish, "What's your name?" And I said, "Julio." Then he wrote "Hola Julio" and signed it. And it's the most precious autograph I still have. Then my friend said we were just waiting to take a picture. So I said, "Take a picture of Kevin and me, since I'm the fan." My friend took the I hugged Kevin from the side and we posed for the photograph and my friend took it. While I was still talking to him, a very beautiful woman approached and kept looking at me. I remember she was eating ice cream and she was truly a beautiful woman. Then she came over and I asked Kevin if she was his girlfriend. And he said no, she was his wife. But she didn't speak to me, that I remember she was looking at me with her beautiful blue eyes, perhaps surprised by my displays of affection towards Kevin. I was speaking to her very excitedly, and I think that caught her attention. Well, I was actually euphoric because I was talking to the person I admire most in the world. Then Kevin took his wife by the arm and left, and that was the end of the most interesting conversation I've ever had. Because for such a famous person to dedicate a few minutes to talking to me is something I'm grateful for and will never forget. And to think that the first time REO Speedwagon came to Venezuela, my cousin Douglas told me after the concert that we should wait to see if we could go backstage so they could sign a poster for us. It featured REO Speedwagon presented by a very famous rum company here. I closed the dressing room door myself because I mistakenly thought that the most famous band of the 80s wouldn't stop to chat with a humble fan like me, not because of them, but because of the security that's always there for famous people. At that moment, I thought doing that was impossible, and I remember telling my cousin Douglas, who accompanied me to the concert in 1987 and had a lot of fun, especially getting very excited when they sang Can't Fight This Feeling, his favorite REO song, which was played a lot on Venezuelan radio stations, and its success is so great that it still places it among the classics of a decade. Well, I remember tell him that it was impossible, that rock bands have a lot of security around them, which isn't true, as I found out 5 years later entering the REO Speedwagon's dressing room twice, which is entirely possible, and perhaps I would have met the best guitarist in the world, Gary Richrath, but I must confess that although I admire him greatly, I've always been a huge Kevin Cronin's fan. And the 5 times I went to REO Speedwagon concerts, although one obviously sees the whole band, my eyes were always on my rock idol, Kevin Cronin. Also, the few photographs I was able to take, because back then that was something that cost a lot of money. Buying the camera, the film, and paying to develop it. And I have always been a person of limited economic means, and in Venezuela things always cost 3 or 5 times and even more than in USA, like REO CDs that were too expensive when they came out in Venezuela. I know many will understand the advantages that young people have today in terms of technology in things as simple now as taking a photograph, but it wasn't always so easy. You know what I mean? By the way, Kevin mentioned on a radio show that he had attended a party here in Venezuela and had drunk rum. It seems it was the first time he had tried this drink, and I remember a full poster of the band came out in an advertisement for a Venezuelan drink. This was the second time I went into the REO Speedwagon dressing room in Venezuela. See you in another REO story. Please like, comment, and share my stories about REO Speedwagon. If you have a story with them, I'd love to hear it in the comments or through Facebook. You can find the links to my social media in the REO channel description. See you in the next video. Julio from Venezuela, REO Speedwagon biggest REO fan outside of USA. Keo rockin' with REO Speedwagon music on the old REO YouTube channel since 2006. Thank you very much for watching and listening to the full audio video. My REO friends.